Are you wondering if paid ads are dead? Well, the truth about paid ads is, I'm not going to tell you yet. Gotta listen in. You were back in the days of the white, yellow pages?
Nah, well, I did.
It's just hard to understand. It's just a game of numbers.
When you were getting sold from these marketing advertising firms, and they say, oh yeah, we can handle this, we can handle that, we can handle this. Can they?
Today we are covering ads. What's happened with them? Are we using them? Should you be using them that are watching this podcast? Well, let me break it down for you. Hey, Josh, do you know anything about paid ads?
I know a little bit about paid ads. Not a lot.
He doesn't know crap about paid ads.
I used to be pretty engaged, but this stuff changes so much.
Man, it's rapid, dude.
And then when we were doing paid ads, when I first started like really advertising online, it was like Google was it, but then it was like Craigslist. And Craigslist is like come and gone. Then it was Facebook Marketplace or Facebook and then Facebook Marketplace. Now you got TikTok, Instagram, TikTok Shop. It just depends on what you're selling.
It does. And we're going to get into that here in a minute. But from what I can remember, you were back in the days of the white, yellow pages?
Nah, well, I did. My first company was called Aim to Please because you always wanted to be A because you pop up on the top
of the list. Call
the list. Book. So you click over there for like whatever's category, and then you're at the very top.
Yeah.
So it was like the search ranking of Google, but your name had to be alphabetically A.
Hey, we're way past that now. So we are into the new age of things. The new age of things. So let's talk about paid ads. So I think the first and foremost thing you need to understand is there are some different platforms, as Josh said, and in my opinion, all of them have kind of a specialty to some degree. So you may be thinking, well, what the heck are you talking about? So what I mean is if you're selling a product, you may not be able to sell that product as easily on a platform like running paid ads on YouTube. But you may be doing very well if you run and sell that product on a platform like TikTok. So every one of these platforms is going to have like a niche specific thing that's going to work better for you. So I know that if you're selling products, TikTok is going to well outperform something like a YouTube.
I just want to know how many of those guys that are walking on the treadmills on TikTok Shop, you know what I mean? Selling those like treadmills that you can put underneath your bed. Have you seen those?
I am like,
and the e-bikes. I'm like, how many of those
I'm
bikes?
an old school guy. I don't get on TikTok.
Oh, I'm gonna find one. You see it walk down there like for a low price of $5.99. I'm thinking in my head, I wonder how many of those things he's selling. Think about if he sold 20 a day.
I mean, he's probably making a good chunk of money, and that's where you get into that. Those guys selling products on these different platforms, and some of them are just absolutely killing it. So let's not kid ourselves. And there is an art to it. There is an art to making these ads. So Josh is looking that up. Again, they're niche specific on whatever type of product that you're selling. So if we're in my world of things, I'm doing products that are rentals, but we also sell products as well too.
Found it.
Uh-oh. Turn it around so they can see it.
This is what I'm talking about.
Or just do it here in the middle of my living.
TikTok Shop.
Moves up and down.
So treadmills, $179. She has cheap. She has 115,000 views and 1,600 some comments.
Do you think it'd get the same amount of views as I was up this treadmill?
Listen, most of the time when you leave a review, that means you bought it, right?
I would assume so.
She has 5,177 reviews.
Times the distance in calories, and it goes.
And that's probably killing it, guys.
Not everybody that buys one leaves a review, right?
I would assume you're
5,000 reviews. I'm say 5,000.
You're either a troll, right? And you're talking about her on that treadmill. Yeah,
that's almost $1 million. So one, but once I hit this, I'll let you keep on going. That treadmill always like, I wonder how many of those things are selling.
Yeah, like I said, there's an art to that.
We could probably make more money doing that we could with this podcast.
Yeah, we probably could. But again, there's an art to that.
Man, we should be like walking on the treadmill.
Yeah, again, I don't know. I'm gonna sell as well as that chick I just saw on that treadmill.
That's true.
Right? Maybe I can sell some beef jerky sticks, right? Because they're jerky, right? But maybe not a treadmill.
Maybe that's what we should try.
You know what? I'm having a hard enough time getting subscribers on here.
But we can be like eating something and advertising on TikTok shop and see if we sell any of it.
I mean, we could, and I actually have a TikTok shop. I've done absolutely...
You have a TikTok shop?
Because you told me to get one. I sell these containers.
Why don't we do that?
That's coming. I got a million things.
Falling through socks.
I got a million things to do, and this motherfucker's got a million ideas, and he does none of them. He just pushes them to me. I can't get everything done. So, back to the podcast. So, paid ads. They're niche specific. And, we do a lot of paid ads. So, again, the niche that I'm in may not be the same niche that you're in. But I have a healthy mix of Google, running ads on Google, and running ads on Facebook. So, let's talk about those two first. So, Google, like Facebook, it has its own algorithm. Things are different, right? And from what I've been able to understand, they score your ads. And so, you got to have visibility of these ads. So, you may spend... $1,000 a month, or you may spend $100,000 a month. And guys, there is people that are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on ads. That is a real thing. So that's not me, but if you can ever figure out the trick to attribution and understanding your return on your ad spend and your lifetimes of your customers, and there's a lot to it. But Google is what we use, and Facebook. And what I'm seeing personally is the videos for me have been doing better. So you can do images and sell with like a picture image with lots of call to actions and push and buttons on there to where you can push to call or push to fill out a form, and you send those to your CRM program, your customer relations management program, where you are understanding that ad came here. Here's the people. Here's the information of the individual. Fill out the form. So we do that. And, there is a couple different ways to do that. And we use Google, we use Facebook, and what I'm seeing is a shift coming into more of the social platform versus a platform like Google, a search engine platform. So, and that's in my products. So there's a big difference in the two. We do both of them. We have success in both of them. But like me, I think you should take the advice of run a couple different platforms in your ads and figure out, make sure that you understand your analytics, or somebody as you can pay to understand your analytics, and test them. Within Google, we may run 5 ads, and 2 of those ads may way outperform the other 3. Well, I'm not going to go pushing my money into the 3 that didn't perform as well as the 2. So we do like little beta tests on these ads. We run our betas, we figure out which one of these ads is the best, or 2, and then we start putting our money behind those 2, right? All the while, we're doing the same thing over here on Facebook. Or you could use Facebook or Instagram or TikTok and Instagram, or whatever variation that you feel best for your situation. What I can tell you is that play with it. You can't just throw a dart at the wall and expect it to hit the bullseye every single time. You have to play with these ads. You have to continue to make new ads, because the next ad set of 5 that you may make, it could all 5 of them, you may just be getting more comfortable. Those 5 could well outperform the previous 2 that you said were your best.
Well, I know what's outperforming it's taking over my mind.
What?
Because these phones listen to you.
It's a crazy...
And then they're throwing ads at you, but depending on what you say. Yeah, you know what I mean?
For sure. What you click on,
right now it is showing me offshore fishing boats.
Oh, no, you've been looking at
I've been one of offshore fishing boat folks, and it's been targeting me. I don't know how we used to call it retargeting You know, you click on something, and then you start hitting them drip.
Oh, it's getting a little bit more wild nowadays.
Is it?
Yeah, and
Now you can like.
I gotta go through my phone. I don't want to get too many of my personal things that we're working on. But what I will tell you is that privacy laws are a big thing, and it should be getting more and more stringent on your privacy laws. But keep in mind that all of these different ads and things that are sent, these email campaigns, so there's usually an opt-out on email campaigns. Ads, there's not. But there are lots of privacy laws within every platform. But they're almost impossible to find.
Well, nobody reads them.
No, it's like...
You download an app and it's like 19 pages of user agreements. You're like, download.
Yeah, okay. Did you read? Check.
Now they're listening to you, following you, cross-referencing the data. You know what I mean? They know everything about us.
Yeah.
I was reading a deal the other day. They say Google has 10,000 data points on every single human in the world.
Yeah. I was talking to
10,000.
I was talking to a guy the other day, and it's getting crazy to where they know what you drive, where your house is at, which person is watching which TV, if it's your kid.
They know everything.
And, I mean, it is just absolutely, it's mind-boggling. So if you are naive and think that they're not listening to this and know what you're watching on TV or what car you drive, you are not paying enough attention. So
I would say the thing about ads that scares me the most, if I was like the TikTok shop person that sells, like, and it still can happen, but like you read and you watch the news and like think about if you're, pushing all this money to one platform. Eric does not, we do not. And you're all in on one platform. You're selling treadmills. You're selling whatever you're selling. We have a good friend that sells snackle boxes.
yeah.
Shout out to JB, but he's on our podcast, one of our first guys, but he sells snackle boxes on TikTok, right? He's made good money doing it. But what happens if the government gets involved and shuts down the platform?
It's going to be a bad day for you.
And then you have all these fixed expenses at your home, and then boom, your revenue source shuts down like that. People were freaking out.
Oh, I can only imagine. It'd be terrible.
What if you're just an influencer?
And they did. Well, they did
And your TikTok is a platform you chose over YouTube.
I want to say they did it to like Steve Will Do It or something, where they took him off to where they wouldn't even show his stuff no more. And it's like an instant hit of, hey, I got all my eggs in this basket. And I'm not saying he did. I'm sure he had other streams of income, right? But imagine if he did it and they shut down that TikTok, or they took down your influencer page or whatever. Like,
Say something political or say something that...
it'd be a bad day, bro. It'd be a bad day.
That's why I like that. The way you handle our marketing and advertising, you're thinking about every little which way possible.
Yeah.
Hitting them from all different types of angles from multiple social media platforms and how we structure it, etc. And tell them about what you're doing, not just with paid ads, but they're kind of paid ads, but with our CRM program.
Which part of it?
The videos and...
Oh, yeah. So,
I mean, it doesn't really have anything to do with paid ads.
It kind of does.
But it's kind of an alternative what you can do with creativity.
Well, that gets into the creativity piece, and there is a lot of creativity that has to be done to these ads when you're, just to think, right? You have to hook people in. You have to make sure that they understand what you're selling, and, you have to be somewhat personable, or maybe you're doing something that's off the wall that's getting somebody's attention, but it all boils down to attention, right? I've understood that. But to Josh's point, creativity is a big piece of this. So what we like to do is we put our paid ads in, like I told you, our Google or Facebook, and then we make sure we get all the data that we need. We make sure we get all the data that we need from that individual by either running a call rail system that listens to the calls and takes the data from the calls and pumps that into our CRM program, and or on the form, we make sure that we have required fields on the information that we have to have for our program into our CRM program. So when they fill out that form, the data comes in, or they make that call, the data comes in to our CRM program, and then it triggers, I can't think of the word, but it triggers a sequence, we'll call it, to where that person is immediately hit by a text message that says, hey, I know you were looking for a dumpster, or hey, I know you were looking for X. Give us a call. We want to help you out. Here's why we're a good solution for you. And at the same time as the text, it's sending out an email that has a personalized video from me that says, "Hi, I know you to some degree. Hey, thank you for looking for our products here. This is what we offer you in this realm of whatever you're looking for. You can trust our business. This is what you can expect, so on and so forth." So not only did I capture them on the paid, I captured their data. I use their data for a sequence of events to what I call nurturing that paid ad, nurturing that potential customer, right? Because it's a hot lead. It's a bottom of the funnel lead that's coming down. And I'm automatically hitting them as many times as I can right out the gate, because in my world of things, these guys are looking to buy right now. Some people on a larger product like a boat, they may be looking at boats like this guy is doing literally as we're on a podcast.
They keep on targeting me, man. It works.
It works. But he's not in the market right at this second. We're gonna get that figured out.
We are?
Oh yeah.
We're not busting my bubble, man. This is news to me. We're not in the market for one right now.
We are, but he's not gonna buy while we're sitting here. Right?
Well, you got to get your pay side up, going up faster. He's not making enough money.
He's proving my point. He's proving my point here and saying that like your nurturing program may be different depending on what it is that you're selling or you're offering, right? Mine is these guys may want a dumpster, and they're likely going to want a dumpster, and they want it today or tomorrow, right? People usually wait till the last second on stuff like this, and I know that being in the industry. So I'm targeting them and I'm hitting them out the gate, bam, 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 right? And then I'm putting them on a program from that. In the next 24 hours, it's going to hit them again with something like a text or an email. And then another 24 hours, it's going to send another text and an email. And somewhere in between them, we're going to auto set up a follow-up, right? And the automation is amazing if you know how to use it, or you find somebody who knows how to use it better than you, where you can set all this up. So it costs me some money out the gate to get it set up, but it's a program. It's a SLP that happens. It's as soon as I spend money on that guy and he clicks and he calls or he spins a form, my money's already spent over here. So it funnels in there, and it gives me a better opportunity to land that person as a customer and change it from a lead to a customer, because not only are they potentially calling and getting somebody right on the phone, but let's say they call and nobody picks up the phone, heaven forbid. That doesn't happen to us a lot, but some of you guys may be watching, you may not be able to answer the phone every time. Well, if you didn't answer the phone, now they got a text from you or your company saying, hey, you can reach us at this number between these hours or whatever.
Let me stop you there.
What?
Because this is what drives me nuts in our business. You pay all this money, you set all these systems up, answer the damn phone.
Yeah.
When they call, answer the phone. That's your hottest lead ever. When they actually have to go other way, they look at your ad, they find you somehow, they dial your number, and they call you and nobody answers. That's stupid. I mean, I was just trying to find
wasting money.
I was just trying to find a skid steer attachment. It's like $8 or $9 grand, 10 grand, whatever. I called the guy's personal cell phone and his office phone. Not one person answered.
When you're in the market to buy right now.
Yeah, I was gonna probably get my credit card in the door, and that's $9 grand, boom, right then.
Yep.
If you do all these things Eric's talking about, which I 1000% agree with what he's talking about. It's very important. You have to do it if you want to scale your sales. And you do not have a system where you answer your phone. I just had to. Didn't we
You
just
might
have
be lighting your money on fire.
Yeah, didn't we just have a talk with our outside salesman? We were getting 31 leads on a weekend, and nobody was calling them back until Monday.
It is.
I was like, sales guys, it's 24/7. If you're a salesman or a sales lady, it's a 24/7 job if you want to be successful.
Yeah, and again, in our industry, which is probably similar to most, when they want to buy right now. And if you don't answer the phone, they're going to call the next person in line.
And we have
That's just bottom line.
emergency call-out fees for those specific circumstances.
Yeah.
We want those calls. We had a podcast talking about after-hours calls.
Yeah.
And we had a little bit of disagreement, but on the end of the day, you set up systems for people to come in on the weekend. We have a fee that we charge our customers, but we will not get any of that revenue.
No, it's a high margin game, because look, the reality of it is that if you have a catastrophe, if you have an emergency on a weekend, right? You need somebody to help you right in there, right? People that have that situation happen, they know it's Saturday or it's Sunday, and people are usually at church or this, that, and the other, they're out the lake or whatever, right? Well, they know when you're calling on Saturday, you know you're going to pay a premium. That's just bottom line, right? So
You need it now.
if you need it right now and it's that much emergency, you're going to pay a premium. Well, it's going to cost me a premium to get that person out to you anyway. So it's an understood type of a deal.
Yeah, that guy has to.
But moving on.
Yeah, so answer your phone. Don't be an idiot. Don't pay all that money for all that stuff and set up all these systems and you don't answer the phone. You know, to Eric's point, you're lighting your money on fire.
Jump out, you're lighting it on fire. I don't know how many people like to do that. I sure the hell don't.
You do.
No, I don't.
You like to go to the casino.
I haven't been to the casino, if my wife is watching, in a long time.
She doesn't watch our podcast, I promise. My wife actually does, and she tells me I cuss.
Honey, I'm getting better at the casino, okay? I promise. But yes, you're probably right. I have lit somebody on fire. I've won a lot of money, though. And I hate a sidebar, but a couple times I won over 50 grand on one fucking wop. So, sidebar. But other than that, another segment I think is very important to understand, and it's harder to understand than it is to, it's just hard to understand. So, hard to do this, I would say. Easy to understand, hard to do it. But so there's a difference between your paid ads and your organic traffic, right? And organic traffic, I'm not going to get into a lot of that today, but in my opinion, I've been doing this for a little while. It's obviously very important because if you're not having to spend money to drive dollars, then you're making more money if it's coming in for free. There is a lot of challenges to getting stuff in organically. There's back-end website stuff. There's SEO. There's, where are you putting your keyword? What keywords are you using? Which ones are the best? I can go down to another episode on that. But at the end of the day, there is a difference between paid ads and organic traffic as well, too. So keep that in mind. There's a positive of both. Where it gets very, very, where you can really get deadly, I would say, is if you can attribute your paid ad costs to where it's coming from and which ad and which platform, and you can understand your return on your ad spend by ad and by platform, and then get that data over a period of time so you can understand if your customers like ours could potentially re-rent, then now you have a lifetime of value that came from a single ad. And if you can put all that analytics together and understand that you're going to make money, break even, or lose money by spending X dollars, it's just a game of numbers at that point. Meaning if I know I'm going to make $100 from every $5 I spend over that $5, why wouldn't I just click it up to 20, right? Because I know I'm going to take that 4 times now over, right? So that is the trick, guys. And it is not as easy as it sounds. I'm making it sound.
It's more than that, though. Because like if I jumped in right now, started, you say, hey, Josh, take this over.
Mm-hmm.
The way I was doing it, 2 or 3 years, 4 years ago, heavy involved, like understand cost per click and understand conversion rates and all that stuff. You have to stay on top of this more than you ever have because
it changes.
It's just changing so rapidly, and people. Another thing too is like we're old. Like our kids don't. I tell Reese, Facebook, and she's like, Dad, Facebook's kind of like that's for old people.
Look. Do I look old? I need to hear some comments. I'm looking for some good comments today. I know I got a little bit of gray hair going.
I'm gonna leave my
a break, okay? I'm thinking about shaving the gray hair too, shaving the facial hair off again.
You got a gray hair for a buck.
Man, I got it going on, baby.
If Eric would hurry up and figure these ads out, I might give me one of these boats.
Yeah. Well, we're getting there real fast. So, guys, to wrap this up, paid ads are complicated, like anything else. You can't just be a newbie at something like paid ads, jump in here and expect great results.
Hey,
right?
You need to hit something that's very important.
Go ahead.
Hey, you need to hit this because you've been down a few of these.
Yeah.
When you're choosing, and I've made many of, probably well over hundreds of thousands of dollars in mistakes in this one category alone. when you go hire a marketing and advertising agency and they promise all these things, and this is something you need to hit because you're getting tuned up on this right now as we speak.
Yeah.
Right. You got websites, you got social media, you got paid ads, you got Google, you got search engines, what is they call SEO, all these different things. Why don't you touch base on, when you're getting sold from these marketing and advertising firms and they say, oh yeah, we can handle this, we can handle that, we can handle this. Can they? Do you feel like you've ever found a marketing advertising agency that's fully encompassed that can do it all?
No, I do not. Me personally, I have been down through a lot. I wouldn't say a lot of them, but I've been through a handful of them.
I agree with you.
And I think that what I found is that most of the people that I find that are good, they specialize in whatever it is they're doing. A lot of them, what they'll do is they will offer, let's just say, an SEO package, and they'll run your Google ads, and they'll do your website, right? They'll try to all encompass. And some of them may do videos and the whole gamut, right? But what you're going to find is that they're usually going to be very good at one of those 3 or 4 buckets, right? And then you're either okay and you just want to live with the other ones because you don't want to spend the money and singularize these individuals or these skill sets. But what I have figured out is that it's usually best if you can't afford to have somebody in-house, right? And even the in-house guy is going to have the same problems. They're going to be specialized in one thing or another. But what I found best is do your research. You can't just come in this blind. Unfortunately, marketing, like anything else, just like being an entrepreneur, it takes time to learn. So you can't expect to come out and pick out the best guy out of the gate. And you can't take their stuff for face value either. Meaning you're going to have to be highly engaged.
Because they're going to say, here's my credit card. I need your credit card on file to hit those Google ads. They're going to go click, 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 click.
And to take it a little deeper, like number one, you have to be highly engaged because they're going to take advantage of you. They're running a business. They're going to try to make their money the easiest, most efficient without touching it the most way they can. That's just it's going to happen. Okay. But another thing to understand is that most of them they're going to be specialized into one thing or another. So, like I said, just 3 main buckets is website building, SEO, and Google ads, right? Or paid ads, excuse me. So what I would say is I have been able to find people who are good at running social ads. I find people that are good at running specifically Google ads. I have found people specifically that are good at building websites and specifically good at SEO. And a lot of times you'll get website and SEO kind of together because it does tie in together pretty well. But do your research. Don't come in this blind. Don't take everything for face value, and make sure that you're doing the research along with them so that you can talk the talk to some degree and call them on their BS. Use ChatGPT. It's a freaking amazing tool, right? I had to do it the hard way for a long time, and now I can just throw ad copy in there and figure out what the problems are, throw your website URI in there, figure out what the problems are. There is plenty of tools out there that makes it a lot easier than the way I did it when I started out 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. So the tools are in front of you. Use the tools. Learn how to use the tools to call the BS.
Hey, we had a guy on a podcast, Angelini's Pizza guy, and he spends like minimal dollars.
Yeah, he's great at the SEO.
And he's doing it himself, but you could tell that dude spent
years
and a lot of time and effort learning what what to do on a cheaper way to do it.
Yeah.
Besides, like, what we do is hire people.
But it's different too. Again, remember
he's selling food.
Remember, he's got a pizza business. It's in a singular locations, right? I forget what they call that, but at the end of the day, his is the target market that he's after is way different than the target market I'm after, or the target market you could be after.
And so, let me interrupt you one more time because we've had a segment on this. You need to go back on a couple episodes. We talked about this, and we're actually doing this right now. When these guys present, because you're not gonna know what you're talking about at the very beginning, so everything's gonna sound wonderful. They're gonna make you millionaires overnight. They're gonna sell all this stuff, and you're not gonna have no product. That's a bunch of bullshit most of the time, right? but be careful with what the contracts that you signed.
Yeah.
That was my very first one, my very first company. I signed a 3-year deal at, I forgot how many thousands a month.
Well,
No, it was like one of these big firms, right? And it was a rock solid contract. I ended up having to buy it out for like 50 cents on the dollar. But if you don't know what you're talking about, don't go in there, sign these extended terms. You know what I mean? If you're good, we don't make our customers sign long-term contracts.
yeah.
You know, if you're good, they're never going to leave.
Yeah, I mean, we can go down that wormhole too. But I do agree with you. I mean, especially if they're just starting out, make sure, you know, they may have a program like the first guy I had where you have to stay on there with them for a year. They're building your website for free, but you got to spend X amount of dollars. There's a million ways that they slice and dice this stuff. But just know that keep it as minimal contractually as you can when it comes to any kind of marketing, at least out the gate, until you get your own bearing straight, and make sure you're doing some research alongside with them. And you can call them on the BS and you can learn right beside them, because at the end of the day, right, like anything else, you have to be, if you're an entrepreneur, you have to be, versed in every little category. You don't have to be an expert. That's where I went down the wormhole for too long. You don't have to be an expert in every single category. You can be just good enough to where you can understand it and sit there and have a intelligent conversation with somebody in marketing or in accounting or in operations. And yeah, you're probably going to gravitate towards one or the other and be better at that than some of the others, right? That's just natural. However, you do need to do your research on this stuff. You cannot just throw it by the wayside, expect Johnny over here to have your best interest when he's running paid ads. He's going to try to make money. He's going to try to get one over on you. It's just fact. So I hope you liked our podcast. Hope you're getting some from this paid ad podcast that we did here today. And I hope it helps you. So thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. You know the drill. See you next time.